This is episode 307 of Super League Pod. In the week that Rona rocked the Robins, the World Cup gets put in fresh doubt, Brian Carney discloses Sam Tompkins' land speed record, we still have loads to discuss supported by your fan views. In fact, we get even more to discuss as we move along, so you better strap in, cause it's SLP time. Hello, you're listening to episode 307 of the Super League Pod, and this week you have me, Mark, as normal. Despite Wigan's downturn, I haven't quite turned my back on the show yet, Sarah. But you're back as well, Scoots.
I am. Yeah, it feels like a long time.
I think it was a bit of a weird. I think Tim did two quite close together, didn't he? Because of his schedule.
I swapped out for him, didn't I?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. So it all kind of.
A bit of a three-way swap around.
Yeah, feels like ages ago now, doesn't it? But but it's good to have you back. I'm sure a million things have happened since we last spoke to you, and a million things have happened this week, and several have happened today actually that we're going to get to. But do you want to tell everyone about our sponsor first of all? Yeah,
today's episode is sponsored by Rob's Toy Shop, and you can find a wide range of toys, gifts, rugby league birthday cards and more at Rob's Toy Shop on eBay. You can visit stores.ebay.co.uk/Rob's Toy Shop, and on any orders over £5 you can earn 5% cash back, and also 1% of your order value will go into the SLP coffers if you put SLP discount at the checkout.
Great stuff. Thanks to Rob's Toy Shop for their continued support of the show. Yeah, so you were put in that unenviable club versus country position at the weekend. So I think that kind of means we've got more Super League games covered though than we would have done otherwise.
Yeah.
But you were able to catch up on the Combies match as well.
Yeah, I went and watched that this morning.
Good stuff. Well, we've got that to talk about as well as the other international games and representative games at the weekend. Lots of fan views in on all of those, as well as 5 Super League games to talk about, because of course the Robins have the Rona. So we've got that to talk about. The news just kept coming today, so we'll get everyone as up to speed as they can be, because everyone's probably watching the Euros or watching the tennis or, I don't know, enjoying the sunshine or working probably as well. Let's not forget when we're all working as well. So we'll get everyone caught up on all the news, including stuff that's happened today on the 28th of June as we record.
The concerning thing is that many things coming in today. What's going to happen tomorrow with the curse of Tuesday?
Do you know what? It almost doesn't matter now, because the biggest news story surely is still that George Williams is going to be at Warrington, and that hasn't been announced yet. So that doesn't feel like a curse. There's obviously going to be some stuff come out about the World Cup, which we'll get to a little sort of tease towards in the news. But yeah, that could be the big story, couldn't it? Now I've just jinxed it all. You never know. Maybe some of the 9 Super League games in the next week, or 8 days that we'll be giving our predictions for, Sarah, might get postponed or cancelled. At least it'll mean a shorter show for me and David next Wednesday. Mark your cards, kids, next Wednesday, if that does happen. But there's so much to talk about. I think we should jump into the news.
So we start tonight's news with the fact that Hull KR have had 2 further Super League fixtures postponed after a COVID-19 outbreak at the club saw another 8 players test positive. Their match against St Helens, which had been scheduled for last Friday, had already been postponed. 5 players had tested positive prior to further testing, which led to 8 more players returning positive tests. It means the derby against Hull FC, as well as their away fixture with Catalans, will be rescheduled. The derby is being pushed back to the 15th of July, having initially been due to take place on the 1st of July, while new dates for the outstanding fixtures against Saints and Catalans are still to be decided.
Is that derby at FC or at KR?
At KR.
Ah, okay. So it doesn't really affect you too much then, I guess, in a way.
No, just, when I'll be watching it on the telly.
Yeah. obviously it brings into focus the fact that this is still affecting our sport as well as it's having impact on other sports. We had the England footballers and the Scotland guy, and there was Conter had to pull out of Wimbledon because of a close contact and things like that. But it does bring into question what Rovers have been up to and how it's how it's been allowed to spread so much throughout the squad. Like,
yeah, 13 people.
It's pretty significant, isn't it?
Yeah, and what I wonder is, like, how this is the case. Like, what about the vaccines? Are they not vaccinating over in East Hull?
Well, I would suspect that. Well, the thing is, you can still catch it if you're vaccinated, can't you?
Yeah.
But it's a perfect opportunity for anyone who hasn't got it to go and get vaccinated, but they probably can't go to the vaccine centres because they've been close contacts. Like, if I was St Helens, I'd have been getting all their squad that wasn't involved in the internationals, making sure that they were getting needled up, because I know that teams will probably have some reluctance against getting people vaccinated when they're in the middle of training regimes and stuff like that. But when you've got the minimal amount of breaks that we have at the moment, I'd have been saying go and get people sorted, because the more that happens, the less it's going to spread through your squad. As we understand how the vaccine works, obviously we don't know everything, but as we understand how it works, is you can still get it, you can still spread it, but it makes the fact of it causing a problem for you much less likely, and it makes you less likely to pass it on. So it's a no-brainer to me that they should be getting out there and getting that done. But they're running their own version of herd immunity over there at Rovers, though, aren't they?
Yeah.
Sticking with the Rona Robins, we've got Hull KR forward Louis Johnson, 22, has signed a contract extension to keep him with the Super League club for a further 2 years. And Tom Andrews said, another good signing, Smith and Takarangi getting the best out of him makes the swap deal look a lot better than it initially did. Sure, the good news will keep coming with a special delivery very soon. Yeah, that'll be Matt Parcell's contract getting formally confirmed for Tom to talk about next week.
Yep. So, Wakefield Trinity and England back rower Joe Westerman is to return to boyhood club Castle Tigers from 2022 on a 2-year deal. The 31-year-old Featherstone Lions junior began his career with the Tigers, where he played more than 100 games before moving to Hull FC in 2011. And Tom Andrews says, Radford, the new Lee, getting the band back together.
I think it's a decent signing in his current form. You can't argue that he's not been one of the form players in the last month to 6 weeks in Super League. I still think, and I think we saw, he's not quite, shouldn't be in the international squad, but it's a good move for Cass, I think, when they've been losing some people, to pull someone of quality in. It might mean they have to think a bit differently about how they play, because he's a ball handling loose forward, which they've gone with people like Massey and Milner and people like that who were heavy effort back rowers, but not.
Yeah, I really like Westerman, but it's really odd, I think, that he's gone to Castleford. I mean, other than that's his boyhood club, but Radford insisted on just playing him as a third prop forward, a battering ram. And I think we've seen from his performances at Wakefield and even at England that actually he's so much better as a player when he plays as a ball handler. And there was talk, that there wasn't great feeling between Radford and Westerman, and that's why he left.
Well, I mean, it'll be interesting to see then, won't it? How he gets used at Cass next year. And one thing I do think that will concern me a little bit with Cass next year is I think they'll have a very ageing group of forwards. I know they've got some young guys coming through as well. It's but Westerman, Millington, Watts, Massey, they're not kids, so there's experience there.
Yeah.
And we know how tough he is, actually, the knee back in situation.
Oh, yeah.
But it will be interesting to see how Radford uses him, because Radford hasn't always been necessarily about subtlety in the forwards, and he's kind of seemed to have you've always kind of seen some of his more ball handling forwards leave, like Westerman, like Watts. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Another Wakefield story, Trinity second row Matty Ashurst has signed a new deal to remain with the Super League club for a further 2 years. The 31-year-old who joined from Salford ahead of the 2015 campaign was out of contract this year. So that's a long stay for Matty Ashurst.
Yeah. I didn't realise he'd been there for that long.
Very consistent as well, so you can understand why they'd locked him down.
Yeah. St Helens back rower Joel Thompson has announced he'll retire from Rugby League at the end of the season. The former Manly, Canberra and St George Illawarra man joined the Super League champions on a 2-year contract ahead of the 2021 campaign. Since joining the club, 32-year-old Thompson has made 11 appearances for St Helens and helped them to the Challenge Cup final. Prior to his arrival in England, Thompson scored 62 tries in 234 NRL appearances and captained the Indigenous All-Stars, having won 7 caps for the side.
I mean, we obviously haven't been able to see the best of him in just what's going to be a one-season stay in Super League, but congratulations on a long career.
Yeah, it's always a shame when a player has to end their career like that, isn't it? But
it seems like he's making it more for family reasons than anything else. So, and obviously he thinks maybe he's a spent force when it comes to NRL, but good luck to him in his future life.
Yeah.
Wigan Warriors have confirmed that Don Manfredi will retire at the end of the 2021 season, so other retirement news here. After being medically advised to call time on his playing career due to injury, Manfredi has decided to hang up his boots. Manfredi, though, has pledged his commitment to the club by honouring his contract and wanting to continue the rest of this season once he is fit to play. The 27-year-old suffered a knee injury last week, basically a re-injury of his knee that he's had multiple issues with. Having been at Wigan since he was 14, he's come through the club's academy, making his first team debut back in 2013, playing 82 games and scoring 57 tries overall, and of course 2 tries in a grand final triumph back in 2018, which will be no doubt the highlight of his career. We had a couple of fan views in on this one. Sarah, do you want to give us the first?
Yep, so Lee Whitnell said, "This is dreadfully sad. He was showing all the signs of becoming a world-class talent before the Rangi Chase tackle and could never get back to full fitness. I wish him well with whatever comes next."
And Jen K said, "Gutted to hear about Manfredi, the only player to have me in tears twice on his return to the DW after injury and when he scored at the grand final. Brave decision. I'm so glad he was able to make it back in 2018 and win something. In the end, it will probably be a relief for him to retire. Great player."
Yeah.
It's a sad one, really, isn't it, Don Manfredi?
Yeah.
You know, when you look at that, 82 games is all he's played in 8 years.
Yeah, it is really sad. And, he's been at Wigan since 14. It's a heck of a long time, isn't it?
Yeah, and now at 27, he'll be 28 by the time the year's done. Obviously, he needs to focus on something else because his knee clearly hasn't been up to it. We saw the back end of last season, he came back into the side, had a bit of a fluid on the knee situation that kept him out of the playoffs, the grand final, that sort of run-in. We've seen it this year. He's come back, played 2 games. Again, there's a build-up on his knee, and it's letting him down, and he needs to focus on what his life's going to be after it. I think I'm right in saying I haven't double-checked the records today, actually, because I should have done, but I didn't have time. I think I'll be right in saying that he'll retire as a SLP single-game record holder in the time that we've been in people's ears. He has the record for most tackle busts in a single game. He had over 20 once in a game away at St Helens, I think back in 2015, just before he suffered that first injury. So,
right.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yep, and as a result of injuries, Hull FC have signed outside back Jack Logan on a 4-week loan deal from Championship club Batley. Logan, who's 25, came through the academy system at Hull before leaving in 2019 for a move to Doncaster. He joined the Bulldogs for the 2021 season. He made 40 first-grade appearances for Hull FC between 2014 and 2019, scoring 15 tries. I mean, he's another player that was just hit by so many injuries when he played for us before. So he's definitely one of Joshua's favourites, and I must admit I'm really pleased to have him back as well.